Great day, great day, great day. You guys come on in. Come on in. Let's get in this word, y'all. Come on in. We live out here in these streets. Now listen, I can't really share like I normally would. Something is going on with my phone and my watch, y'all. Like, I'm just trying to figure it out. Pray for your girl, okay? Oh, now my phone is working. I mean, my watch is working. Great day, you guys. Let me know who's here and where you're tuning in from. Let me know who's here and where you are tuning in from. I can turn back time. Y'all make sure you share. Make sure you share. Oh my goodness. So I'm on my old phone because my new phone is big right now. Like everything is big, big, big. Everything big, big, big. Hey, Christina. Great morning, gorgeous. Great morning, great morning. Hey, my baby in the truck. My baby going fishing. I guess he heard me when I said I like it when I miss him. Great morning. So, today's topic. Some of y'all finna be mad with me. Hey, Denise. I hope you're feeling better. Reach out to me afterwards. So some of y'all gonna be mad at me today, okay? But you just gonna have to be mad. Because it must be said. It must be said. It must be said. It must be said. So one of the things that happens in life when you grow up, when you're an adult, is that you, at some point in your life, should get to the place where you own your stuff. Own your ish. Your stuff, that's your stuff. You've got to learn how to own that. Okay? It is way too easy to focus on other people, situations, circumstances, and put all of the weight on those things. Way too easy. So I want to challenge you today to own your ish. Own your ish. I have, listen, y'all, listen. Lately, especially, right? I have been going through this thing where stuff is coming up out of me that I don't like. Okay. And it doesn't matter if it's in response to or it just is rising. It's there. Okay. Nothing that can come out of you that is not already in you. Nobody can make you anything that's in you and it's coming out. Okay. I felt like lately there's been a flood of stuff that is coming up that I don't like. But guess what? If it doesn't come up, it can't be dealt with. Great morning, April. Great morning, Helena. How are you? Can't be dealt with. So our natural reaction to stuff coming up is we want to shut everything down. Right? We want to shut everything down. We want to act like we don't see what we see. We want to act like it's not there. We may want to put the blame on everyone else. We may want to blame situations, circumstances, and other people. But I came to tell you today that God said it's time to own your ish, own your stuff, own the stuff that you do, your responses, your reactions to things. While you cannot control another person, what you should be able to control is you. You should be able to control you. You should be able to master you. And the only way that you're going to master you is if stuff comes up where you are required to master you, where you are required to deal with your ish, where you are required to look it in the face, where you are required to smell it, where you are required to experience it. If it does not come up, you may think it's no longer there when it is. So don't despise stuff coming up. Don't despise your human frailties, your character flaws. Don't despise them. Deal with them. Own it and deal with it. Yeah, I shouldn't have handled that like that. I apologize. Please forgive me. Regardless. See, this is the thing, and I don't know about y'all, but I'm just going to talk about me for a minute because I'm going to talk about what my issue is and my challenge with that is, right? I don't have a problem owning my stuff, but I feel like 99% of most people don't own theirs. So I end up owning mine, and I end up looking like I'm the jacked up one. I don't like that. I don't like that. That's what I don't like. I don't have a problem owning my stuff. I don't like owning my stuff and nobody else owns theirs. I don't like that. I don't like feeling like it's going to be used against me to show how flawed I am when I know that there was some other stuff going on, right? So I struggle with that. I will be honest with you. I struggle with that because I don't want it used against me. I don't want my ish used against me. And if I admit to my ish and somebody use it against me, then I'm going to be upset. Because I'm going to feel like, why did I even do that? Why did I open myself up? Why did I allow myself to be vulnerable? But this is the truth of the matter, y'all. I'm just going to tell y'all the truth. The truth is this. You still need to own your ish, whether anybody owns theirs or not. That's not your business. It's not your business to hold everybody else accountable for their ish. It's your business to be accountable for yours. And if nobody else owns theirs, so what? So what? Great day, Summerlin. Hey, Mike. Hey, May. How are you? So I came to tell you it's time to own your ish. Whatever that is, and in whatever areas it exists, because we all have some. Some may have more in one area than another. Some may have addressed, some stuff, but there's still some stuff that comes up. Listen. My baby said, you owning everybody else renting. Ooh. Oh, that's good, babe. You owning yours, but everybody else is just renting. Listen, and I prefer ownership. I prefer ownership. Mike talking about, oh my God, I've been having this conversation for the last 2 days. Listen, Mike, we be like this. Look, you can't control anybody else. You can't. I want you to know that you can't. And you can't force someone to own anything. You can't force anyone to face anything. You cannot make it happen. But what you can do is be a real life, living, breathing sacrifice by owning your stuff and showing people what it looks like to own your stuff and that it's okay to own your stuff. This whole life on public display thing can be a lot. It can be a lot because of what God requires of me. How he requires me to be vulnerable and to reveal me and my stuff. Now, what I'm going to tell you is I don't like it. Now, that's the truth. I don't like it. I don't like having to own my stuff publicly. I don't. But he requires that of me. Now, he may not require that of you, but he requires that of me. Because too often, leaders don't own their stuff publicly. They'll own it in private, but they don't want nobody else to know they got stuff. I got ish. And sometimes my ish shows up. And it may be in response to something. It may have been triggered by something. I may have been agitated by something or aggravated by something, but it does not matter. It is still my ish, and I must be the one to deal with it. It is no one else's responsibility to cater to my ish. Ha! It's no one else's responsibility. It is not their job. It is my job to face my ish and to deal with it. Not to make my ish somebody else's ish. No, it's me. I got to do that. I've got to be willing to do that work. I've got to look at me. I've got to look at my communication, my responses, my emotions. I have to be responsible 100% for me, my choices, my actions, my words, my petty. I have to be responsible for that. Baby. Ooh. April said, that's good. Hey, Kareem. Mike, it's real. Hey, Miss Veranda. Now, that's a whole nother level of grown person-ish. Owning your ish, that's a whole nother level of accountability and responsibility and grownness. Everybody want to be grown, but don't nobody want to own their ish. It doesn't work like that. See, in the Bible, when it talks about maturity, you know, when you were a child, you spoke as a child, you thought as a child, you acted as a child, you were a child. But when you became grown, you should have put away childish things. So, confession, yesterday I threw a whole temper tantrum. I threw a tantrum. Do you hear what I'm telling you? Now listen. My tantrums don't require me to fall out in the floor. They don't do that, okay? But I threw a tantrum. I wasn't talking, like I was mad. I'm just walking. I'm walking fast. I'm walking hard. I'm like, God, you gonna have to help me because I'm struggling right now, right? Now, this is the thing. Anytime you have a visceral or extremely strong emotional reaction to anything, there's something else going on with it. There's something else going on. And it's your job to figure out what is really going on. What's at the root of this? So I had to ask myself, why did I respond so strongly? Why did that evoke the reaction that it evoked? I told y'all I'm going to ask the whys, right? Not just of other people, but of myself, right? Why? What's really going on? What's really going on? And listen, I had to get to the root of that thing so that I could face it and deal with it. And guess what was at the root of it? I've lost independence. I've lost independence. So every saboteur that deals with independence has arisen in me. Like I've lost independence. And I've moved from independence to interdependence. Enter into the world of we belong together. We want to sing we belong together, but we belong together creates interdependence, which means that I can't just make decisions for me. Every decision affects both of us. And I've been coming to grips with the loss of independence. Me, miss, just get up and go somewhere. Oh, God said do this, I can just go do it, right? I have lost independence because I am connected to someone else. Everybody want to be married, but y'all want to be independent. That's not what marriage is. Marriage is the coming together of two to become one. So, in this becoming the Johnsons and the making of the Johnsons, your girl has been struggling lately with the fact that I can't just hop in the car and go and take a trip. That I've got to think about our family, our household. And the truth of the matter is, I've been struggling. Now, this is the thing. People in the church, when you're struggling with something, people will often say, well, just pray. Well, that's good. Prayer is great, right? You want to pray, you want to read the word, you want to talk to God, and you want to listen to God, but you still have to do the work on you. So when I get upset, I shut down. I stop talking. I don't want you to talk to me. I don't want to be around you. You know, like that's what happens when I'm like this. When I'm like this, I'm not talking to you. And if I talk, it's going to be short and it's going to be limited. Now, this is the challenge that I have. My husband, he going to keep talking to me. He going to talk to me. He going to be in my face. And I'm going to be mad every time I look at him. Why are you in my face? Listen. But I still cook dinner. And then he points out, you cooked my favorite meal. And I got mad again. I went trying to cook your favorite meal. But it had to happen because I had to figure out what was going on. See, we think being a living sacrifice is about, not having sex or what you wear or, don't say these words. No, being a living sacrifice is really dealing with you, with your traumas, your triggers, those things that you don't talk about, those things that people may not know. It means that you got to allow yourself to be vulnerable. And one of the things that the Lord knows about me, my daddy knows this about me, I don't like vulnerability. And I know y'all are saying, but Dr. V, you get out here, you tell all your business. It's different. I don't like emotional vulnerability because when I've been vulnerable in the past, it has been used against me. Now, I don't mind this. I can do this right here. But that 101 vulnerability where I have to say to my husband things that I don't want to say, when I have to say, baby, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I didn't fight fair yesterday, right? And then he says, well, how didn't you fight fair? And then I have to tell him how I didn't fight fair, right? I have to acknowledge what I did, because do you know what that does? It holds me freaking accountable, and I can't fight like that and act like I didn't know what I was doing. I think this is some bull. I just want to go on record saying that. I think this is some bull. God, why I can't own my issue with you and that be it? Why I can't just say, okay, God, you're right. I didn't handle that right. I need to deal with this. Okay, you're right. Angel number 147. And I called that number because 14 is double 7. So that's like 3 sevens. Okay, anyway. I had to own my issue. whether he owned anything or not. That was not the purpose. I had to own my ish for the sake of owning my ish, for me to master me, not to manipulate him. My God, my God. Did y'all hear what I said? I had to own my ish so that I can master me and not own it to manipulate him. Woo! Listen, as a woman, I'm going to talk about me as a woman. I'm just going to talk about me as a woman. I'm just going to talk about me as a woman. I ain't saying this is y'all, but I'm just talking about me as a woman. Little girls learn early how to manipulate men. They start with their daddies. Listen, they start with their daddies. Let me tell you, when I was growing up, my granddaddy, that was I loved my granddaddy. My granddaddy loved me. I was his baby. I was his baby. I remember when this started, okay? I can remember very vividly being upset with my granddaddy because he didn't give me no money. I said, granddaddy, I said, daddy, will you give me, such and such? Can I have such and such? And he said no. What did he say no for? Oh, he said no. He's not going to give it to me. Okay, fine. I'm not talking to you. He'd be trying to talk to me and I wouldn't have too much to say. I'd be real quiet. I knew that he did not like it when I wasn't talking to him. So what I would do is freeze him out. Guess what my response is as a grown woman in relationship? To freeze out. Freeze up, freeze out. I stop talking. It's like a punishment. I'm just not going to talk to you until you learn to give me what I want. That's bull, y'all. That's bull. That's not fair. And it's very ingrained. I've been doing it for a very, 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 very long time. I did it with my kids. I did it in my romantic relationships. I did it in my friendships. It was my response to not getting what I wanted, or to something being said or done that I did not like. And it's not okay. It's passive aggressive. It's passive aggressive. And being passive aggressive is a form of emotional abuse. We want to talk about physical abuse. We want to talk about verbal abuse when people talk to you crazy, but let's talk about the abuse of not talking. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the freeze out. Angel number 188. Let's talk about the freeze out. Let's talk about where we learn these non-productive coping mechanisms. My attachment style as a child, I know it was insecure, ambivalent. What does that mean, Dr. V? Insecure, ambivalent means that I did not have a healthy attachment, a secure attachment. I did not feel secure in my attachment to my mother or my father. Insecure, ambivalent means if you're there, cool. If you're not, cool. That has been my approach to relationships. Every relationship in my life, I have operated from that place. If you're there, you're there. If you're not, you're not. And I think it frames how I feel about cheating. And just overall being jealous, right? If you cheat, you cheat. Like, that's on you. Let's figure it out. Keep it moving, right? Because I don't. Hold on, let me take a drink. All right, God. Because I don't want to put my confidence in people. Because my experience has been that people are fickle and they change like the wind. So rather than put my confidence in people, it's good while it's good, and when it's done, it's done. You know, that has been my approach. Even in my friendships, I accept them for what they are. If they end, they end. That's where I am with it. Because what I've realized is, or what I've discovered is, that in a lot of my friendships, when I'm no longer doing what they think or what they want, then I become demonized. I ain't gonna demonize you. I might not really talk to you. I might not fool with you for a minute. I might have to get my mind right. But I become demonized. I'm just the worst person in the world. I'm so horrible. I'm so this. I'm so that. But just a minute ago, I was the most amazing thing ever, right? The most amazing person ever. So I take people with a grain of salt. I take people with a grain of salt, because when people love you, they love you. And when they're done with you, they're done with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, Hosanna, Hosanna, crucify him, right? It happened to Jesus. What makes you think it won't happen to you? Okay. But in the meantime, what it does in my close relationships is that there is a wall, even though it seems like it's not a wall. Even though I may have mastered looking like there's no wall, there's a wall. My God. Because I share more than most people already. So for it to look like I'm giving you everything doesn't take much for me, because my looks like I'm giving you everything. It's more than most people's giving you everything. So it looks like the wall is gone. And really what's happened is the wall has become invisible, but still present. There's still a wall there. I've let you in more than I let most people, but there's still a wall there. There's still this expectation that a point is going to come, angel number 88, when you decide that I don't meet your expectations. When you decide that I'm not living up to what you think I should do. And so in order to protect myself, I'm going to let you in further than I let other people, but there's still an invisible wall there. You can't see it, but I promise you, God just revealed it to me. This is what owning your ish looks like. I've still got walls. But the beautiful thing is that God causes walls to fall, but he can't cause a wall to fall if you don't acknowledge that the wall is there. How do you acknowledge that the wall is there? By owning your ish. And as you own your ish and you become more aware and more cognizant of what's going on with you, when you ask yourself, why do I feel like this? Why is this my reaction? Why is this my pattern? Why is this my go-to? Then God can have some real honest and transparent conversations with you in a place where you hear him without feeling judged and without feeling like it's going to be used against you. Now, whether anything I say ever gets used against me or not, that's not my concern. My concern right now is there's some things that have to be said. And they have to be said for me. Whether anybody else learns anything from it or not, I got to say it for me. I got to hear it come out of my mouth for me. I got to face it for me. Because if I do not, it will be the demise of the very things that I value the most. So how do you own your ish and hold yourself accountable before being an active solution to the issues, problems, and challenges that you face? Hey, sis, how you doing? Beautiful. Listen, God is real clear with me about me. And he's real clear with me about his expectations of me. And this live today is a difficult live for me to do. Because it requires me to dig deep publicly. It's one thing to dig deep in private, right? It's one thing to acknowledge stuff privately. It's another thing to acknowledge it publicly. Why? Because then people are looking at you. It's one of the reasons that most people, especially people in leadership, don't share their struggles, because people are going to be looking for the struggle. And whether people look for the struggle or not, I got to own my ish. I'm struggling with me for real. It ain't good. And I get it. Because it's a very real thing. So if we don't see what it looks like to do that, because most of the time what we hear is, and I'm just going to be real and transparent. Y'all, I put a post up asking people if they didn't go to church, why don't they go to church? Why don't you go to church? And people's responses said a lot about what happens in the church. And I'm not saying every church is the same. I don't want y'all to think that I'm demeaning church. I'm not. That is not my intention. That post was not to make church look bad, but to really get some real answers from people, right? Because, and their answers resonated with me. They resonated with my experiences. I could relate. And that was the number one thing, the judgment. People feel judged, right? Well, listen, this is what I've learned, right? The judge is our number one saboteur, right? It is the number one saboteur. It is our major saboteur. A saboteur is something that sabotages you, right? It is a way that we self-sabotage. When we are judging others, we're also judging ourselves. And this is the crazy thing about the judge. The judge is going to always come from the place of what's wrong with you, what's wrong with them, and what's wrong with this, right? And it's not so much about, because I don't want people to think that I'm I'm sitting in judgment of the church. That's not what I'm doing. I'm really trying to get some answers because I know God wants to use the church in this new thing that he is doing, but he can't use the church in the form that it has existed. The church must evolve because the church as it has existed is not what God intended. So we've got to get to a different place so God can do something new in the place that he wants to do it. But if he can't do it in the church, he's going to do it outside of the church. So there are those that he took out of the church to build relationships with him. Real relationships where they hear him. Everybody that don't go to church ain't going to hell. Contrary to what some people think. Everybody that don't go to church just, don't want to submit. That's not it. I remember when God told me to go to the Church of Scientology in Tampa. And I was like, what? What? Oh my God. What if they don't let me out? He said, go, I'm going to show you something. Now, I know a lot of saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost people would say, God would never tell you to go there. God told me to go there because I would not have gone on my own. Do you hear what I'm telling you? Okay. But I went. And I went being me. I didn't stop talking about God. I'm going to talk about God. I'm a prophet. I prophesied up in there. Okay. And those people loved me. Do you hear me? All of the people at the Church of Scientology in Tampa, Clearwater, they love me. They love me. They know me. Oh, that's Dr. V. That's Dr. V. While everyone else who speaks there has to have their speech totally written out, they put it on a teleprompter for you to read it. They've got to go through and approve it. They did not do that with me. Every time I spoke, and I spoke a lot there. I spoke a lot. They did not have me turn my stuff in. I said what God said, say the way God said it. Them people was up in there saying amen and everything. Listen, let me tell you something. God used me in that space, but he had to send me there first. And when I went, I discovered some things. Do you know what they do there? Let me tell y'all what they do at the Church of Scientology. They give people real tools to equip them with dealing with the stuff of their life. My God. That what we're supposed to do in the church. They give them real, practical, hands-on tools to use to solve the problems of their life. People want answers. They want to know, how does this apply to my life? And many times what happens in the church is there's a disconnect. Real tools to answer practical problems in the lives of people. That's why people go. People want real solutions to their life problems. And in the church, many times, the way the church has been structured is they're hungry, we just give them some food. They're going to be hungry again next week. After that food runs through their system and they use the bathroom, they're going to be hungry again. So now you've met their need, but you only met their need temporarily because they're going to be hungry again. So what we do is we throw money at stuff. We throw stuff at stuff. Let me tell y'all, at the Church of Scientology, you will not take a class for free. You want to develop these skills? Then you need to make a commitment. $50 per class. Angel number 99. You may be homeless, without a job. Okay? The class is still $50. And do you know what they're going to do? They're going to bring you in and they're going to help you figure out how to get that $50. Why? Once you figure out how to get that $50, that shows you and you gain some confidence in your ability to solve a problem. Once you figure out that you can solve a problem, that if you have need of money and you can figure out how to get this money, right, legally, right, then when you have need of money again for something else, you know how to get it. You take the class and you deal with whatever the issue is. They have finance, they have emotions, and then learning how to control your emotions. They have communication, how to communicate effectively. Do y'all know what would happen if in the church we knew how to control our emotions and communicate effectively and how to deal with our finances? Churches might actually be able to do more kingdom work. But we just want to toss the word at people and tell them to pray. Now, listen, I don't have anything against the word of God. I believe firmly in the word of God. I believe the word of God changes things because I've watched it change things in my life, right? But the way that we use the word often doesn't come with practical application attached to it. Now, that's not everybody's gift, right? That's not everybody's gift. Everybody's not gifted to do that, right? But we got to have systems that give people the tools that they need to be effective in their life and not just give them the word. Right, baby. Teach a man how to fish instead of giving me fish. That's it. So this is what God showed me. And I know that that's lower level, and I know that there are issues there, but there are issues in the church. We're not going to act like ain't no issues in the church. We're not going to do that. That's what we're not going to do. This is what I learned. God began to show me their organizational charts and systems. He began to show me how these things work. Angel number 99. He began to show me that only he could have given those revelations to L. Ron Hubbard. Now, what people do with revelation is up to them, okay? But God gives revelation for a purpose, okay? And sometimes we throw people and situations and things away because the revelation has somehow got perverted in translation. Because they don't do it the way we do it. Now, this is one thing I'll say. The Church of Scientology will come together with anybody, and they do more in the community than the church does. Now, that is a problem for me, right? And the problem is this: we're supposed to be, they'll help anybody, nonprofits, churches, like the nation, like they got tools that help people solve practical problems, okay? I ain't trying to make nobody be Church of Scientology. I'm not a Scientologist. I'm not. But I recognize the value in some of the things that they do and provide for people. And that's our problem. We so busy caught up in judgment that we don't know how to learn from other people. It's just like Black women. Y'all, I'm going to talk about us for a minute. Just like Black women, okay? I contend this. If there's an epidemic where Black men are dating and marrying white women and women outside of our race, something is going on and everything ain't self-hate. Okay? Everything ain't self-hate. Now, I know we can say, well, they just hate themselves. Some Black men that love themselves and love Black people and love Blackness have married women outside of their race. Could there be some things that we can learn from these other women? I contend yes. The difference, and my son said this to me one time, and I didn't understand it at the time, but now I get what he was saying. My son said, and I was hot with him, baby, and I'm telling y'all, I was hot, heated, hot with him when he said this. He said, Mama, he happened to be drunk at the time. This was a drunk conversation. You know, when people get drunk, their tongues get loose and they say, you know, he said, Mama, I'm so glad my wife ain't like you. I said, what? That's what I said in my head, but out my mouth I said, why do you say that, son? He said, well, you're loud And, she's not loud like that. You loud, my sister loud. Black women just tend to be loud, just for no reason, just loud. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm loud. Okay. And I wanted to marry somebody who hadn't gone through anything. I said, well, son, that sounds good until they go through something. When you are with someone that's gone through something, they know how to go through something. This is the thing. He said, I want somebody that hasn't gone through anything so they don't have all that baggage. And essentially what he was saying was that as Black women, we've become hardened by the things that we've gone through. We have more of a chip on our shoulder towards the world, towards situations, and towards Black men than these other women do. We have these expectations of Black men that are often unrealistic, and we don't live up to it. And I get it now. Now I get it. Because Black women tend not to be soft. We tend not to be extra feminine. We tend not to need Black men or a man at all, because we've gotten accustomed to doing it all. Good morning, brother. Black women tell it like it is. We get our point across. I get it. Yeah. But and it's not just that we get our point across, it's how we get it across. So God is checking me. God has been checking me. This is me owning my ish. I gave him an example of a Black woman that, yes, definitely taught him some very positive things. I taught him how to persevere. I taught him how to not quit. I taught him how to not give up. I taught him to go after what he wants. I taught him how to be relentless when necessary, right? But he didn't really see. My boys didn't see me being soft. I remember I was getting ready to get married. This was husband number 4, and my oldest son told him this. This was what he said. He said, listen, this is what I'm going to tell you. Don't act up, because my mama will get rid of you. Don't act up, because my mama will get rid of you. Long as you know that and keep that at the front of your mind, you'll be all right. But don't act up, because my mama will get rid of you. I'm saying all this to say this. I've had to learn how not to fix everything. I've had to learn how to allow space to need someone other than me. Because the truth is, I do. You do. We do. We all need someone else, right? We need help. We may not want to need help, because there have been times when we needed help and it wasn't there. So because of that, we try to become self-sufficient. But even in our self-sufficiency, we still need somebody. Somebody gotta help us. Yes, sis, that's what he said. Don't act up, because my mama will get rid of you. I've had to learn to allow myself to be vulnerable. And I allowed myself to be vulnerable, and it was used against me. But I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop being vulnerable. If you want true change in your life, if you want real love in your life, we, as women, but men too, have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. It's not a one-way thing. Vulnerability is necessary. That's where true intimacy is. True intimacy isn't in physical intercourse. That's not where true intimacy is. Intimacy can occur there, but true intimacy is when you allow yourselves to be vulnerable with each other. When you share those deep things. And you learn how not to use them against each other. Because it's a quick fix. It'll get the point across real quick. They'll feel that real bad. They'll feel that. You want to make them feel something. Yeah, use that. So what you all are witnessing today is self-deliverance. This is self-deliverance. You know? This is me going through self-deliverance. Charlotte said, vulnerability is so hard. I'm trying though. So, but check this out. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable and our expectations are not on people being a certain way or doing certain things, but our expectation is that God has us no matter what, that is the key. God has me no matter what. God has you no matter what. So if someone uses it against you, you know, so what? God's got you. God's got me. When we own our ish, we give God an opportunity to show how faithful he is. My faith, my trust, and my confidence is in God. I love my husband, but my faith, my trust, and my confidence is not in him. It's in God and the God in him. So that when he as a human falls short, God picks up the slack. Yes. Intimacy and not an intercourse true intimacy. Listen, vulnerability is a really scary place, and it is. But guess what? Angel number 1212. Oh, I need to look that up. Angel number 1212. But guess what? It's scary, but wait a minute. Hold on. Does fear come from God? Because I know the word says that he hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. It's because our understanding of love has been twisted and perverted. So when we understand that love expands, love is about freedom, love is about choice, love is about not having to be in a box, not having to be perfect, about the space to make missteps and be forgiven. Yes, perfect love casts out all fear. And what is perfect love? God's love. God's love is perfect love. It is that expanded love. It is that love that is unconditional. Fear has torment, and it will torment you. It will have you worried about stuff that you don't need to worry about and bringing it and manifesting it in your life. Because whatever we focus on, that's what grows. Whatever we focus on. That's why when we're caught up in someone cheating and the possibility of them cheating, we actually can put them in a position that increases the likelihood that they'll cheat because they're always being made to feel like they're cheating. And people get to a point, I know y'all done heard people say this, well, every time I turn around, they're accusing me of cheating. I might as well cheat. At least then I get something out of it. I actually did something. We've got to learn to control our emotions. We've got to learn to own our ish, face it, address it, deal with it, grow from it, because that's what ish does. It produces growth, right? It's necessary because it's fertilizer. It's necessary because it's fertilizer. Necessary that you that it be there, and then you acknowledge it, because then it can be turned into something that causes growth as opposed to something that destroys relationships. Own your ish. Own it. Deal with it. Gain the skills and the tools necessary to effectively navigate your life. Hey, Jason. I literally had to go through this a couple of days ago. There's growth and accountability. Absolutely. Fear cultivates an atmosphere to grow whatever it is that you're afraid of. Absolutely. 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 Angel number 1212. Y'all, look, I'm not coming on here acting like I'm perfect. I'm far from perfect. I am perfectly imperfect, and that I know. But what I am telling you is there are some things that we have to do as grown A people. Since you want to be grown, we got to put away the childish things, the things that we did as a child that may have been effective then and may have protected us then and may have been a survival tool then. But if we're going to thrive as adults, then we got to put that stuff away and get new tools. I don't know about you, but I know for me, my marriage is worth enough for me to own my ish, face it, address it, and deal with it. I may not have done that effectively in my other marriages, but at some point, there are no more excuses. At some point, there's only accountability and choice. And I choose to do this differently. I choose to not allow what my son said be true of this relationship. There is no getting rid of him. That's not even an option. There's only figuring it out. And we have to figure it out. We have to figure it out. And I think the thing that makes this so different for me is my maturity, but also that I know that God put us together. So even when I'm really upset with him, I know God did this, and if God did this, he knew what he was doing. And in fact, that's what he told me. God had a very clear conversation with me about us. And I remember him saying very distinctly, because I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not dealing with this. I'm not dealing with that. I'm not doing that. I'm not. And he said, yes, you are. You're going to deal with whatever you got to deal with. Because this ain't about you, and you didn't do this. I did this. So, and this was before. This was before we got married. He said, so, you're going to go through what you got to go through. Because I'm trying to take you somewhere. I'm trying to take you somewhere, and I'm trying to take him somewhere. And I can only do it when I put y'all together, because I'm killing two birds with one stone. I remember telling God, well, I need to see this and I need to see that. He said, you don't need to see nothing. Because if you do it based on what you see, then you're not doing it based on what I said. That's me. I don't want that. I don't want that. He said, no, you're going to do it based on what I said, because I said it. What I know about God is he knows what's best for you. He always has a plan. And everything that I've gone through, every relationship, every challenge, every marriage, listen, has equipped me for this particular man. It's equipped me for this particular man. The way my life equipped me for my daddy. Look, stop running from your assignments. Stop running from your assignments. Accountably and choice, that part. The only thing to do is to figure it out. That's it. Yeah. Listen. And that's my goal. Hey, Julie, how you doing? Beautiful woman of God. Look, y'all, I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm not even saying that it's fun. But what I am saying is it's necessary. It's necessary. Everything ain't gonna be the good and easy and smooth and fun. And look, I'm trying to tell you, I love my husband and we have some amazing times. We do. And we laugh and we walk together and we do all of those things and it's great, right? But there are also times that are tough. Times where we're like sandpaper. And those are necessary too. So, what say ye then? What say ye? Are you going to continue doing the same things the same way, even when you know better? God forbid. God forbid that you continue to operate in the same sphere, the exact same way, and then be surprised that you get the same results. It's time to figure out what you want. And what I know that fear, jealousy, overwhelm, depression, grief, all of those things have you vibrating very low, like barely above living, right? That's not where I want to live my life. I want to live my life in the place of love, joy, peace, God consciousness. You really want to be more like God? Be more like God. Take on his characteristics because they belong to you. God resides in us and he created us in his image, which means that we should look like him, and in his likeness, which means that we have his characteristics. It's in our DNA. So when he breathed the breath of life into Adam, when he formed Eve from Adam and made them fit together. If God makes you fit with someone, you can't do your part. Can't do your part and just be accountable for your ish and allow yourself to grow and to be interdependent because you're scared of letting go of a little independence. That was an interesting revelation for me. That really, some of my response is, I can't just do what I want to do. It doesn't work like that. That I traded in my independence for interdependence. And the same is true with God. The same is true with our relationship with God. Many of us, our relationship with God is strained because we still trying to be independent forces. When we're at his, I got to do what God says do. You're not your own anymore. I'm not my own anymore. Not only when it comes to God, but when it comes to my husband, I'm not my own anymore. Not to say that I don't have value as a person, not to say that I don't have identity, but to say that my identity, as we are becoming the Johnsons and God is making the Johnsons, my identity is changing, just like my name changed. Women, I'm going to say this. I remember saying, I'm keeping my name, I'm keeping my name, I'm keeping my name. And I remember one day God told me, he said, how is it that you going to keep your name, but you want to be married? There are some transformations that we go through that require a name change. Remember, Jacob became Israel. When we get married, there's a transformation. And many times we set ourselves up to struggle and to fight against, kick against the goads, right? Because we are not in alignment. Instead of looking at it as you're giving up something, how about acknowledging that you have been given something? Because when God does a name change, it's because it's for where you're going. Just something to think about. Y'all, I know Women's League got you. Well, I got all my stuff. Y'all, my name has changed so many times. I know they be like, okay, is she a criminal? Why she got all these names? It took my passport so long to come back because of all the names I'd had in the past, right? But God taught me in marriage number 3 that the name change was important. And I'm not talking about a hyphen. I'm not talking about a hyphen. The name change is important. Now, if you want to make your maiden name, your middle name, okay, but listen, ain't no hyphen. Ain't no hyphen. I'm not Veronica Wiggins hyphen Johnson. I'm Veronica Wiggins Johnson, right? But I'm Veronica Johnson. At the end of the day, Johnson, right? Yes, Kareem. Yes. So you all on this journey called life, you got decisions to make. Either you can continue doing your life the way you've been doing, getting the results you've been getting, or you can make a conscious decision to own your ish and allow God to help you face it, deal with it, navigate it, and figure out how to come out on the other side of it. Now, this is what I will tell you. This is what I'll tell you. This is something that God has really been dealing with me on, right? And I've been teaching a lot, and God has been showing a lot about our identity and the importance of our identity, right? And understanding who we are because of the kingdom rights that come with it. Think about it like this. When I changed my name, when my husband and I got married and I changed my name, right? That immediately tied me into everything that belonged to him. You understand? There were rights that I got because I carry his name. We were able to go to the Navy base, right? We were able to go to the base. And even though I've never been in the military, I was able to get a military ID because I'm married to someone who was in the military. So there are privileges that I get. There are rights that I have, things that I have access to because I have his name. His name opened some doors for me. You understand? So we fight against things that God sends to bless us. And we look at the blessing as a curse, so we reject the blessing. And what I will say to you is, do not be an Esau and forego, sell off, give away your rights because of your pride and your mistaken thoughts of holding on to independence that does not even exist. You've never been independent. You've always been interdependent. Your interdependence was just with God and not with a person. When you get married, you are interdependent with God and that person. Okay, God, you done because there's a lot. This is a lot, God. This is a lot. This is a lot. And I don't want y'all to think I'm condemning you or I'm judging you. I'm not. I'm sharing with you my struggle. But prayerfully, my struggle and God pulling up my ish and helping me to face it, deal with it, and navigate it will somehow, in some way, help you. God loves us and he never does anything to harm us. It's always about our growth and us growing. And I refuse to stay stuck in the place where I've been. I refuse to have a repeat of any other marriage. I refuse. And I refuse to be miserable. Because guess what? My husband said something to me yesterday, and I just had to laugh because it was true, but I didn't care. Y'all know when somebody say something and it be true, but you don't care? I don't care. It don't make no sense. It ain't logical. He said this, look. We're walking and I done got mad. I done got fire hot, honey. I done got fire hot. I'm walking fast. I'm walking fast. I done left him. I'm just walking fast, just mad, right? So he said, can I ask you a question? I'm thinking in my head, no, don't ask me nothing. I said, sure. He said, didn't you say that when you speed walk, it works against your body? That it does something that is actually damaging to your body? So you so mad at me that you go hurt yourself? I had to laugh because it was the truth. Yep, I am. Yep, I sure am. Yes, I am. Because listen, I just gotta get myself together. I gotta get myself together. I just gotta get myself together. So I'm gonna walk fast. I'm walking fast. Yes, no, it don't benefit me. Yes, it's gonna work against me. I'm probably gonna experience the effects of it, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I'm that mad. Yes, I am. And then the crazy thing is this, y'all. We normally do 2 laps. And so I said, we only gonna do 1 lap. I'm just gonna determine what's gonna get done. We only gonna do 1 lap. So I'm walking out. He said, no, we're gonna do what we normally do. I was like, I'm not. And so I walk off and he was like, well, I'll do it by myself. Okay, good. So he's walking. And then I realized, y'all, when I get almost to the house, I'd be like, I don't have a key. I didn't have a key. And I was going to be so mad if I was locked out the house and I had to sit there and wait for him to get. I was going to be livid, okay? I was like, and I'm going to be looking stupid sitting out here because I done walked off. Listen. Oh, God. I was able to get in the house, but listen. We do things that hurt us, trying to hurt other people, and that's stupid. That's stupid. I was being stupid yesterday. There was nothing logical or rational about what I did. Nothing. It didn't make any sense. It didn't get me to my desired outcome. It was stupid. It was insanity. Do y'all hear what I'm telling you? But I was willing to do it to prove a point, to punish him, to whatever, right? To prove that I'm independent. Well, you do what we normally do. I'm going to the house. If I had been sitting out there when he got home, I would have felt dumb. But I was already being dumb. Look, I haven't gotten it right. I don't know everything. I haven't worked it all out. This one thing I do. Forgetting those things that lie behind, I press on towards the mark of the high calling in Christ Jesus. And that includes in my marriage, in my relationships, in my communication, in my emotions. We need tools. We need to understand what's going on that would allow me to make a decision to do something that works against me. And I know what it was. It was my saboteurs, my self-sabotaging mechanisms that had protected me growing up, working against me in adulthood. I can address my saboteurs. It's not his job to address my saboteurs. It's mine. It's not his job to cater to my saboteurs. It's my job to figure those things out and deal with them. I can't give him the responsibility for fixing something that only I can fix. It's time to grow up. Own your ish. Face it, deal with it, and don't get overwhelmed when it comes up. If it's coming up, that's because God needs you to deal with it for where you're going. Just deal with it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm owning my stuff and I'm owning it publicly. Right? Holds me accountable. I owned it with my husband. And I'm owning it publicly because I got to deal with this. Because if I don't, it's going to create a miserable life for me and for him. And our marriage won't be able to be what God desires it to be. Not that we're trying to be perfect, but we ain't trying to have unnecessary drama. For what? So regardless of anything else, why it came up, why it happened, regardless of any of that, I have to own my response, my reaction, and my foolishness and call it what it is. Foolishness, being dumb, being stupid. Yes, all of that. And that's one thing I don't like being is stupid. I don't like being dumb. I don't want nobody making me look dumb in these streets, stupid in these streets. But then I'm going to make myself stupid. But that don't make no sense. Come on, y'all. We got to do better. Look, I pray this word blessed you. I pray that you got something out of it. If you want to know more about how you can gain tools to help you deal with your self-sabotaging behavior, help you understand your identity, help you walk this destiny walk and get out of your own way, hit me up and I will share with you some things that we can do to help you navigate the process. And if this word blessed you and you want to sow a seed, you can do that at Cash App $DRV Johnson 777. Cash App $DRV Johnson 777. It's time for some self-deliverance. Let's get that done. I love you guys to life and life more abundant. Have an amazing, incredible, and epic day. Be blessed. Mwah.